Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy! Zoodle here, and welcome to another dwarf matchup versus the Lizardmen featuring Grumpy Guard. Now, in this match, Grumpy Guard is featuring an army very much like the ones we've been showing on the channel, and he has a little bit of a different take on it, which is really fun and really interesting to go over. So, for his army, he has the 5 Longbeards in the front line, each with 1 chevron to really hold down that front. He does have miners with blasting charges, 5 of them, to really be there for red-crested skinks, skink cohorts, skink skirmishers, these types of things. And he has 3 dwarf warriors in the back line to sort of help just defend the back line from cavalry and this sort of things. Now, in his for his range department, he does have 2 rangers, and you can Vanguard deploy them. They are going to be hidden, and I mean, they're just really, really nice for a lot of functions in the matchup. He does have 2 units of Trollhammer torpedoes, and Trollhammer torpedoes are just, they do so much damage so fast. They're very, very good. And for his backline, he has the bolt thrower, and he also has a gyrocopter with brimstone guns and Iron Fist. So for his opponent's army, he's actually brought an interesting idea. These Ripperdactyl riders, they have anti-infantry. I think their bonus versus infantry is 10. 10 bonus versus infantry, but they don't have a whole lot of armor, but they do armor piercing, and they have frenzy and cause fear, and they can Vanguard, and he's got them up with a red-crested skink chief. So red-crested skink chief is sort of the very cheap model, and that chief has Warrior's Crest for plus 44 melee attack, plus 27 melee defense, which is amazing. The Opal Amulet, 22% damage resistance, Foe Seeker for the speed, and Focus Instincts and Frenzy as well. For the main army, he has 5 groups of red crested skinks, including the one. I thought he had 5, but I guess only 4. So 4 groups of red crested skinks, with the Regiment of Renown up here, the cohort of Sotek, which are unbreakable and have refused to die. And he does have 3 groups of Saurus warriors with shields, who are very strong against the Dowie. He has in the flank some Cold One riders, and up front he has this Legion of Chakwa Sour Spears. Why would you bring spears against the Dowie, you might ask? That is for this ability very specifically, which is the Shield of Chakwa, 44% missile resistance, so that's why you would bring that. He also has the Basilodon with the Revivification Crystal, which is the heal. I think you get 7 shots of that thing. Yeah, 7 shots of that thing, 1 every 60 seconds, and it heals for 26 seconds. That's actually pretty long. And he has a Skink Priest of Beast on foot, and that Skink Priest just has Transformation of Kidan for the 2 Manticore summons. So we will get this on the go. And really the idea of having some artillery and having the gyrocopter is really, you can pick where you want to have the engagement happen and force your opponent to come to you right away. Grumpy Guard is going to see these guys coming up to sort of put pressure on him, so he is going to get the heck out of Dodge and find a new place to hang his hat. On this side already, the bolt thrower is starting to shoot, and I think he's going to target the cohort of Sotek. Red-crested skinks, this is the cohort Sotek? Yes, and he does have them targeted, and that is really who you want to target. They're unbreakable, worth 800 gold. They're a really, really strong unit. Now, blasting charges are going to do a real number on them, and already he's got the Rangers out firing out front against the red-crested skinks. Again, excellent target for the Rangers. He's got these guys all focused on the cohort of Sotek. Up here, the transformation of Kadan's going down with a Feral Manticore. These guys are still in the back. They're going to start coming up. This Feral Manticore is going to come in right now. He has to get back, and he's pulling these Rangers back, and he's going to have to pull these Rangers back. In come the cohort of Sotek, and we're going to see this in come the Iron Drake with the Trollhammer torpedoes, and these guys have a ton of ammo. You really don't have to save ammo with the Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes, and they do a massive amount of damage. I think he's almost in range of the miners with blasting charges, and they do a ton of damage too. You can see these guys are right now sitting at around 4,000 health. I think they start with about 6,030. Yep, and you know they're getting really beat down. In come the blasting charges, and you're gonna see just a massive amount of damage coming in. We'll take a good look at this here. They just blasting charges are so good against skinks. You can just see them absolutely getting pummeled in that front line. Very satisfying. But they lose a ton of health. Really, on that one volley, they lost about 800 health, is it? Something like that. And they're going to lose health down here. These blasting charges are going to do a very good job. So you can see he has been able to get this one group of Rangers back, but these Rangers have been caught up in here by the Feral Manticore. He is going to be shooting into that Feral Manticore. He's got some blasting charges going in, and now he's actually going to switch, and you're going to see he switched his bolt thrower and his gyrocopter onto this Rev Crystal. And now this Rev Crystal can do some damage in the front line, but this is exactly what the bolt thrower is really good at. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's just consistent. You can see it's already, you know, got this guy down to what, 5,000 from 5,700, and that's just the bolt thrower alone. And now this gyrocopter with brimstone guns is going to come in and just start taking pot shots in at this Rev Crystal as well. In come from the side. I wanted to slow down, stop this, because we got these Ripperdactyls and the Red-Crested Skink Chief all coming in from the side. So I really want to focus on that for this battle, because I think it's sort of an interesting idea brought by the Lizardmen player to come in. You've got Iron Fist here. Here they come down on the Rangers. They're going to try and goon them really fast, and you're going to see Grumpy Guard is just going to collapse. In comes Ungram. He's going to collapse the Iron Drakes. Both Iron Drakes with Troll Hammer torpedoes are going to focus on them. They do so much damage. In come the miners. Troll Hammer torpedoes are absolutely massacring these guys. You can see now he's going to focus everything on the Red-Crested Skink Chief. Really, you just need one more volley to come in here. And, you know, meanwhile, you can see these Ripperdactyls are doing some damage, but they're getting damaged even worse. I mean, they just don't have quite enough armor to deal with the Dowie. In comes another volley of the Iron Drakes with Troll Hammer torpedoes, and right into that Red-Crested Skink Chief. You see he's down to 1,500 health just like that before everyone even gets into the fight. Bang! He is already routing just like that. In comes the other volley from the Iron Drakes from the other side. Nothing has really been able to break through really fast, and the Iron Drakes have essentially completely wiped out their Red-Crested Skink Chief. These group of Ripperdactyls are caught, and the Red-Crested Skinks here have routed. These guys are down to 10 models. The Saurus Warriors are just getting to the front line and starting to get involved, but the whole leadership in just that small amount of time has basically been his leadership has been decimated with the Ripperdactyls on this side. Now this side of the battle is, you know, not going quite as bad. He has been able to get around with the Saurus Warriors and these guys to get onto the Longbeards here, but there's so much more left, and you can see the Lizardman player calls it early and just says, you know, well, my leadership's all done. There's not really going to be any way to win that. So I know it was a really short game, but I wanted to show that because you might see these in your games, these Ripperdactyl riders. I think they look tempting to they might look tempting to some Lizardmen players to be sort of like Harpies, but a better version of them or something. But you could see they just, I mean, they got wrecked in the back line because they are large. Dowie have decent anti-large, and these guys would get absolutely demolished by Slayers. There were no Slayers back here. Even regular Slayers would demolish these guys because they only have 45 armor. So an interesting try from the Lizardman player. I think, again, this again shows the weakness of the Red-Crested Skinks in the matchup. You know, we just finished some testing with these Red-Crested Skinks, and the miners with blasting charges do a number on them. The Longbeards beat them straight up. Really, it's just a Saurus Warriors with shields you only have to worry about as far as infantry goes. Now, the Red-Crested Skink Chief on a Pterodon was an interesting idea, but you can see, boy, these Iron Drakes just do a ton of damage really fast. And pretty much anything in the Dowie lineup can hit them, because even Red Crest Skink Chief on that Pterodon had like 40 armor or something. It wasn't very high, 60 armor, but sort of in once you start getting down to between 40 and 60, any Dowie unit becomes actually pretty effective. Your armor piercing is not going to be the leading source of your damage when the armor sort of gets down below 60 and 50. It starts to become non-armor piercing can be just as good. And an interesting idea, which is why I wanted to show the game, of bringing in those the Ripperdactyl riders rather into the backline to try and shut down that backline pressure from the Dowie. But you can see it really didn't go well. The Dowie definitely had everything required to push down that build. Now, we've seen a few different attempts at Lizardmen builds, and sort of the Croxagore build is the meta right now, though I think it's going to change away, because these Red Crested Skinks, I think enough Lizardmen players are going to find that they don't perform, and they're eventually maybe going to only take 2 of for flanking and really get back to the Saurus Warriors front line. And recently had a comment from Wyvern who's thinking, well, maybe the right path to go down for the Lizardmen is the more big dinos like Mazdamundia and Zlak with that Apotheosis heal. And it's interesting, we're doing this series right now, Will It Kill Mazdamundi? Because I actually think that's correct as well. So I've been playing with some ideas on how to deal with Mazdamundi effectively in my anti-Lizardman build, because Zlak and Mazdamundi with Apotheosis are so disruptive to the Dowie. So I've been playing with a few different ideas. I think we got 2 episodes of Will It Kill Mazdamundi up, and I'll have some more to go as time goes on, because I think that's just a fun little idea. But anyways, not much to really go over in this battle. Thanks Grumpyguard for sending this in. Grumpyguard does have his own YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description, and I would highly recommend you go over and say hello. And I like all dwarf battles. I mean, a lot of people send me battles, saying, well, this is not maybe this, or I love all of them, just to see different ideas play out, even if it's short, like this battle was, where it really didn't go through to completion, where you can see everything operating sort of as it should. The Miners with Blasting Charges really doing a number on the Red-Crested Skinks, and this idea of the Ripperdactyls really getting solidly rejected. I mean, there weren't even Slayers in this backline, and it was pretty solidly rejected. And the nice little play of the Bolt Thrower and the Gyrocopter to the Brimstone guns, focusing on that Bastillodon. Like, it was just a really good use of that Bolt Thrower. Starting with the cohort of Sotek, targeting them down, and then pushing over to the Bastillodon and getting some nice chip damage on that Bastillodon. That battle goes on for another minute, and that Bastillodon is routing, maybe having gotten off 2 of its heals, and that's it. 2 out of the 7 heals. And the beauty of the Bolt Thrower, if it maintains its online status, the Bastillodon will rout, and the Bolt Thrower can keep shooting in the back to kill it or to shatter it, sort of as it tries to get off the battlefield. Anyways, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments section below as to, are you seeing any shifts in the Lizardman meta yet? If you play the Dowie or the Lizardman, I feel it's gotta. Red Crested Skinks, maybe. I really think, especially after the testing that we've done, that they're a mistake to bring into they're a mistake to bring in the matchup with the Dowie. Maybe you could say they might be a good for a flanker, but you gotta, Miners with Blasting Charges, Rangers, Quarters, Longbeards, they very specifically have to get up against Iron Drakes, maybe artillery and dwarf warriors, or miners without blasting charges, or maybe even like a Dowie Lord to be useful. So I see them disappearing over time in the meta, shifting away from Red Crested Skinks sooner rather than later. But hard to say, like some things, maybe they don't change. Maybe they don't. But I'd love to hear from you. I always ask for comments because that's my favorite part of doing this. So I hope to hear from you down below, even though the game was short. Your thoughts on the Ripperdactyls. Have you seen them used effectively against the Dowie? I would say from watching this battle, though it was short and sweet, that I can't see them being used competitively against the Dowie, though I could be wrong. So I'd love to hear from you down below. With that said, I hope you found it interesting, and I will see you soon.